Start, Mbak Nita, cek. Mbak Nita, sorry, video atau tidak ini? Video muncul dulu ini. Oke.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable Chairman of Vidya Manggala School of Economics, the Honorable speakers of our webinar, of course, all dear participants, all praise to the God Almighty for His blessings so that we can be here in the international webinar with the theme Writing and Publishing Impactful Research in Scholarly Journals. Today, Thursday, the 15th of July, 2021. A special welcome to Mr. Muhammad Hasif Said, PhD from Business School, GIF University, Pakistan. A special welcome from and thank you very much for being available for us here.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, to make it effective, let's begin our webinar today, which will be preceded by singing the national anthem of Indonesia, Indonesia Raya. Next is welcome speech by the chairman of Vidya Mangala School of Economics, which will be presented by committee chair, Mr. Elma Muncar Aditya, Bachelor of Economics, Master of Science Accountant. To Mr. Aditya, time is yours.
Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
The Honorable Chairman of Vidya Mangala School of Economics, Dr. Sohaji. The Honorable Speaker of today, Assistant Professor Muhammad Kasif and Dr. Yeni Kuntari. The Honorable entire academic community of Vidya Mangala School, of the participants in today's webinar. Let us give thanks to the presence of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, who has given us pleasure in the form of health, so that even during this pandemic, we can still gather in today's webinar entitled Writing and Publishing Impactful Research in Scholarly Journals. As we know, the number of Indonesian publication in international journals since 2016 until 2020 still occupies in 4th position in Southeast Asia. Even though international publications are an indicator that the knowledge we develop has an impact. So, like it or not, we have to increase our publication in international journals. However, publishing journals requires its own tricks. For those who are used to publishing their article in the international journals, will say it is easy. But for those who have never done it, will say it's difficult, maybe very difficult. The constraints that are generally faced by writer include how to determine an interesting theme, how to choose a journal that suits with our writing, how to know a journal is a predator or not, and how to write in good English. For this reason, today we have Assistant Professor Muhammad Kasif from Business School GIFT University, Pakistan, and Dr. Yeni Kuntari from Vidya Mangala School of Economics, Indonesia. They will share their knowledge and experience in penetrating international journals. We hope that by attending this webinar, we will be able to improve the quality of our scientific articles and also increase the chance of our scientific articles to be published in international journals. That's all my speech. I hereby declare that today's seminar is open. Welcome to the seminar. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Aditya. And the next, our agenda is core of the webinar. Our webinar, which will be guided by moderator, Mrs. Nenin Astiti Ayunda, Bachelor of Literature, Master of Humanities. Time is yours.
Thank you, Sis, Ms. Lita Apriliani. Hello, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, Indonesian time. It is afternoon in Indonesia. Thank you for joining our webinar today about writing and publishing impactful research in scholarly journals. Many of us here are academicians, lecturers, students. Our work cannot be apart from writing scientific articles. But only writing is not enough. We have to publish our articles in journals, and not any random journals, ladies and gentlemen, but those which are well respected for the information and research they provide on a particular subject. In Indonesia, reputable journals, respected journals are indexed by SINTA, we call it, Mr. Kasif. In Indonesia, we call it SINTA here. SINTA 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And SINTA 1 is the best, the top level. And outside there, in international level, we have Scopus Index, Web of Science Index, something like that. I myself not very experienced in this field. And I think most of you here are the same. That's why you are attending this webinar. But don't worry, with us right now, there are two incredible speakers with their amazing works in writing for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Kasif and Mrs. Yani Kuntari. Okay, they will be sharing their knowledge and experience with us. They will enlighten us. Okay, without further delay, let's have the first speaker, Mrs. Yani Kuntari. But before, let me read the curriculum vitae. It's very brief, Mrs. Yani. The curriculum vitae is very, very brief. Yes, okay. Mrs. Yani Kuntari got his doctoral degree at Ponegoro University, and she has written 5 journal articles in the last 3 years, and most of them are Scopus Index, right, Mrs. Yani? Okay, okay. Yes, I think straight to the point, Ms. Yani, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Nemi. The Honorable Mr. Suhaji, the Chairman of Vidya Mangala School of Economics, and also thank you for Mr. Aditya as Committee Chair. The Honorable Mr. Muhammad Kasif from Kiev University, Pakistan. Thank you for joining us. And then dear fellow lecturers, webinar participants, lecturers and colleagues from Bangladesh, Thailand, Malaysia, Pakistan, and also from Brawijaya University, Stekom University, and other dear colleagues from private higher university around Semarang. Thank you for joining the webinar, and we are so feeling very grateful for joining this webinar. I'm proud to my student who joined an article writing webinar for scientific publication in reputable journal. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon and greeting to all of us. And scientific writing is very close to academic work, both for us, for lecturer, and to student. We know that in Indonesia, Ministry of Education and Culture, requirement for graduation, for undergraduate, postgraduate, doctoral student to publish their paper, their last paper, their last task in their study, to publish their paper in a qualified journal. For undergraduate student, publication in national journal in ISSN national journal is sufficient. And then for postgraduate student, publication in national journal with accredited, namely SINTA. And then for doctoral student, publication in reputable international journal that we know as Scopus Indexed journal, for example. And then also for lecturers, we require to publish as an obligation that must be reported in every semester. And today, we will learn to submit and publish an impact journal, including Scopus Index journal. And actually, I still have to learn for publication. So now, I only would like to share my experience during related to the publication that I have done. I have 3 publication in 2 years and then 5 in other index publication. And then we can so proud because in this time we can directly learn from Mr. Muhammad Kasif as a publication expert, as editor, reviewer in various reputable journals like Emerald Publisher. Okay, all right, let's get started. Mbak Nita, would you like to help me to share the presentation? Mbak Nita? Okay, my assumption and that we all have, all participants have papers to submit. So we will definitely choose what journal we will go to, where we can find reputable journal in Indonesia, which may be different from the other case of the other countries. Reputable journal, a journal that are nationally accredited, will be indexed by SINTA. So we are learning writing academic article to successful online manuscript submission and publication. Next, Mbak Nita. How do we find reputable journal? Firstly, in case in Indonesia, the first line journal is SINTA index journal. Like the Ms. Nenin mentioned earlier, that SINTA degree is S1, S2, SINTA 3, SINTA 4, SINTA 5, and then SINTA 6. Then we can search in this link, sinta.ristekdikti.go.id journals. Then we can click source, and then we can find what is our choice based on SINTA degree. Maybe we choose SINTA 4, or maybe we can find so choose SINTA 1 if we think that our paper is prepared by all of our efforts. And then we can search also based on scientific field. Maybe we can search accounting, management, business, or etc. Okay, if we want to publish our paper in international journal like Scopus, the first step is we can find www.simago.com, and then we can click journal rankings, and then we can find our choice by click all subject area. There are many choices that related to our research, maybe business, management and accounting, or IT, or ethics, related to our papers based on the scientific. And then we can find our choice based on Q. The degree of Scopus journal is Q1, Q2, Q4, Q3, and Q4. And the best journal in Scopus is Q1. Okay, next, Mbak Nita. Okay, publishing an article in scientific journal, we can call it is a journey. What is journey? Journey is involving GFA in all writing stages. From the first one is data, result, and then the second is data interpretation, and then search methodology, research methodology, and then discussion, and then conclusion. Every step, we are involved GFA in all writing stages. And then at the end, we have to check our references, and then the potential target journal and decided journal. So we can find guide for authors. Next, Mbak Nita. And then what is GFA? GFA is guide for authors. We must read and familiarize ourselves, myself, yourself, and with GFA of the target journal before writing the manuscript. Why? Because GFA of a good journal provides everything you need to know about the journal. And then we can conclude that GFA is everything in our publication. Okay, next, Mbak Nita. So, if we publish the paper, we can assume that this is a journey. So when we journey, if we are traveling for a recreation, maybe to the place that we never know before, would you like to choice? The three choice is one, just go without information. It is just simple. And then the second is find information from whoever. We can find from who. And then the number three is we have to prepare to have a complete and trusted information about the place, the journey, the culinary, etc. Okay, if our answer is number three, then for our journey to make our article published, we need to read the journal GFA. Okay, research and writing, publication is a journey. And then we can enjoy the journey and find the destination safely. Okay, next Mbak Nita. We refer to elsevier.com from publisher Elsevier. According to Trower, in 2012, there is a reason that they rejected our article. What it is, or what it are. It is fails in the journal technical screening. Remember, technical screening. What is technical screening? Yeah, it is like typo. It is like the simple thing in our paper that maybe we can think that it can be the reason for the rejected our journal. Okay, and then the second is it is doesn't fall within the aims and scope of the journal. My colleague at doctoral student in Diponegoro University, most rejected article is it is not our aims and scope of our journal. Yeah, so before you submit the journal, you can write the GFA with carefully. Is this the scope that this journal that we submitted there? And then the third reason is it is incomplete. What is incomplete? Maybe we forget to write about the reason of the research, and then maybe the background is not so strong reason why this research is publication. And then the fourth is procedure and or analysis of the data is defective. Yeah, maybe we choose the analyzed data with the wrong tools, yeah, or etc. And the fifth is conclusion cannot be justified on the basis of the rest of the paper. The sixth is it is implies small extension of a different paper, often from the same authors. And then the seventh is it is incomprehensible. And the eighth is it is boring. Maybe the theme that we choose, it's too many people or too many paper that read by others, authors, and the same issues. So it is boring for reviewer or for editor journal. And then we know that GFA can provide information to minimize rejection caused by these 8 reasons from Elsevier publication. Okay, next. Still from Elsevier. Reviewer called Borja and at 2015 say that there is 6 things to do before writing your manuscript. The first is our work publishable? It is new issue, or it is the old issue on new battle, or it is so boring like the early reviewer. It is in business world, we can it is marketable or no. Yeah, maybe it is old issue that so many paper about our thing. Okay, and then what type of manuscript to write? Maybe it is really atau really uh, paper from research, or it is resume or critical to paper. Yeah, we have to choose what type our manuscript. And then the third is we have to choose the target journal. Never submit to the journal that we never know before. Some journal give the, you must cite our journal at least 3 paper in our journal. Yeah, so we have to know the target journal. And then understand the journal requirements. Never submit to the journal that we don't know what's the requirement of the journal. So read carefully the journal requirements. And then we have to pay attention on the article structure. Maybe the issue is the same, our paper, but if we submit in one journal, it may be structure of the article different from one to another journal. Okay, and then we have to understand publication ethics. What is publication ethics? We have to know, and that we can avoid publication, plagiarism, falsification, something like that. And then the GFA can help on these 6 things. Okay, Mbak Nita. Next. So, this is the obstacle and FAQ, frequently asked question, that can help by GFA. What is this? What is scope appropriateness? We know it from GFA. What is publication ethics? We know from GFA. What type of publication? We know from GFA. Maybe we have the good resume or good critical to earlier paper, but the journal is never accepted this type. So we can read carefully the GFA. And then we constructing the title. How we can write the title. Yeah, we can know from the discussion, example for other articles, scientific writing books, or GFA. And then how we can write the abstract. We know it also from GFA. And then other thing like authorship's method, yeah, like IMRAD, introduction, method and result, and discussion. Okay, Miss Nenin told me that my time 5 minutes less. Illustration, table, style, and then also publication fee. Yeah, we have to know how much rupiahs, how much dollar we have to pay to this publication. Okay, Mbak Dita, next. Okay, GFA is a complete help for us. It is absolutely necessary to read before we preparing the manuscript. Read the GFA of the target journal before we begin to write. And then read the newest GFA version, because every journal maybe make the update their GFA. And then read at least 2 years last published in the journal. Mbak Nita, next. Okay, there is no standard GFA, and this is different from one journal to the other journal. Okay, then we have to read the journal, the target journal that we want to submit there. Okay, next, Mbak Nita. Yes, this is the description of the types of paper. We can read it. I will share this paper to us, all of us. Then next, Mbak Nita. Yeah. So an easy to remember scientific moral code. This is 4 don'ts. Don't fabrication, don't cheat, falsification, don't plagiarism, and don't have conflict of interest. And then next, Mbak Nita. Okay, this is my email and spam email. Almost every day I get an email that they mostly they invite me to publish in their journal. Call for paper from many journal. So we have to carefully with this offer. We don't know what is the journal, so we can open their link and we can know from their index, maybe the new journal, maybe it is in Indonesia called abal-abal journal, yeah, that we never know, no one know this journal in English. Okay, it's all my presentation. Thank you for Miss Nenin, thank you Mbak Nita, and then we can learn from the expert one and publication. Mr. Kasif, time and screen is yours. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mrs. Yani Kuntari. Thanks for the tips. And so the most important thing, or one of the most important things, is GFA, right, Mrs. Yani? Guide for Authors. I remember the first time I submitted my articles to Sinta Journal, I ignored the GFA, and then after 6 months waiting, my article was returned, and the editor said, fix the template, the paper template. I ignored it. I thought at the time that it was editor's job, not my job, to fix the template. And then, my script was returned just about the template. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now we go to the second speaker, and he is popular and well-known for Master of Publications, Mr. Muhammad Kasif Said. And let me read you the curriculum vitae. He got his PhD in marketing from Sahid Zulfikar Ali Bhutto Institute of Science and Technology, Karachi. He worked at the University of Faisalabad, Pakistan as a coordinator faculty of management and as a lecturer in marketing from February 2006 to February 2007, and then moved to Kyiv University in 2007. In June 2018 to February 2019, he worked as the head faculty of management sciences, and now he is an assistant professor, and he became an editor in many journals, and he got Spanish Marketing Association, Best Reviewer Award, 2020 Best Reviewer Award. Congratulations, Mr. Kasif. And he has written 59 journal articles since 2012. Okay, Mr. Kasif, I think now it's time for you to deliver your presentation, to share your knowledge and experience with us. Time is yours, Mr. Kasif. Mr. Kasif, are you there? Okay, I think technical trouble. He was there. Okay, participants, dear participants, if you have questions, perhaps, actually, we are not in a question and answer session yet, but just in case you have questions, you can ask directly to Mrs. Yani Kuntari.
Hello, Nerin, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, okay, Mr. Kasif, welcome back. You just disappeared. Okay.
Yeah, I was sorry, I was disconnected.
Welcome back, and now time is yours, Mr. Kasif. Okay.
Okay. Just I'm trying to share my PowerPoint presentation. Uh-oh. Just a minute, Nanin. I'm sharing my screen. Okay.
Okay. While waiting for sharing the presentation, sharing the material, I'm sorry, perhaps participants may write the questions in the comment column or chat column. Miss Rina Santika, maybe you can write your questions.
Nanin, perhaps I can email you the PowerPoint presentations and then you can share. I'm not getting the option to share
Okay.
PowerPoint
Yes. Oh, saya ya otomatis ke Mbak Nita. Belum ada.
Can you see my PowerPoints, Nanin?
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, we
Okay.
can see and read your PowerPoint very clearly.
Okay, thank you. So shall we start now?
Yes, please do.
Okay. I'll switch off the camera during the presentation, and then after the presentation for question and answer sessions, I will again share my video camera, right?
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the merciful, the beneficent. Thank you very much, Professor Nanin. First of all, thanks to you for giving me this invite to speak about this issue, which is one of the very important issues you rightly mentioned. Thank you to all the friends. Thank you, Professor Swaji, for sparing your time, despite the fact that you had surgery recently. I never knew that. And I hope you, and I wish a very good health to you. And also to the other speaker, Professor Yani, it was truly a blessing, a good learning experience to listen to you. Well, today I will be sharing about some experiences about writing and publishing in quality journals. The presentation agenda today circles around 3 questions. First, how academic writing contributes to personality and teaching. So why I am concerned about this question is that at the end of the day, if you publish or not, you have to teach in a university, right? You have to teach either undergraduate classes or graduate classes or postgraduate classes. So often authors ask me that why to publish in journals? Does it have an impact on their personality and teaching attitude? I would like to highlight as how publishing in journals, how reading, how writing, and going through the experience in life contributes to our personality and contributes to our teaching attitude. So the thesis which I'm coming up with is when we are publishing or when we are making efforts to publish, it develops our personality and positively contributes to our teaching attitude. So I will elaborate this thinking from this perspective. Second important question and agenda point is why articles are rejected, which is heart and soul of today's presentation. I would like to elaborate based on my experience and also some of the, not only as an author as an experience, rather being a reviewer, being an editor, I would like to share that why I reject articles being an editor, what I look into articles, and finally some suggestions, approaches. I'm sorry, I never call them shortcuts or tricks. I have my own perspective because scientific journey is never a short-term journey. It's a lifelong phenomena. One has to spare time to read, one has to spare time to discuss with the subject experts, and one has to spare time to reflect and to absorb the social phenomena so that those can be taken up as research projects. And I will be sharing some of the surprising research articles as how they linked their passion, their hobbies, and the social life into the management research. So this is the core of what I will be talking about today. Moving forward, what is the impact of writing effort on one's personality? I think it is a very important question. Patience, first of all, this is something we learn because you have experienced when you submit an article to a journal, normally it takes 3 months and sometimes it also takes 6 months. And I have personally experienced at times it takes a year to get the decision from the editor because editors are very busy people, reviewers are very busy people. Normally it is a volunteer work. So all those people who are reviewing for journals, they are also professors. They are performing teaching activities, they are performing administrative activities. So patience is something which I learned in my life that is important when you go through this publication process. You have to do this sabr, what Allah refers in Quran. We have to be patience oriented. We have to wait for the decisions. You never know that I will submit an article and after 5 months, the editor would say, okay, article is rejected. So no problem. We have to improve the article and submit to the next outlet. So patience is something which anyhow becomes part of your personality. Then detail orientation. You see, in our daily life, we normally are not a detail oriented individuals unless until we are groomed by our families in a way that is exception, or we are groomed by some education and training. So writing for journals is such an education and training that an individual becomes a detailed oriented individual. How? Because when you will write an article, the reviewers will ask you why you opted for snowball sampling as an example, why you selected social exchange theory, why you are discussing abusive supervision as a topic, why you are interested to investigate green accounting as an issue, why you are interested in corporate social responsibilities. So with every choice, they will be asking the why question. So it becomes part of your personality. The more you write, the more you reflect, it becomes part of your personality that you become a detail-oriented individual. Of course, long-term vision. You as an academic also can become someone who has a long-term vision. Trying and publishing in journals which are non-paid, very important point it is, and are cited or read by people all across. And you see, when we talk about science, science has no geography. A theory developed in USA should be useful in some other parts of the world as well. And a theory developed in Pakistan and in Indonesia can also help people working in some other countries. So when you are eyeing for international journals, when you are trying, making efforts and improving yourself, it broadens your long-term vision and you think in a way that you as an academic is for the rest of the world. You have to become a welfare-oriented individual. So this also injects a long-term vision in you. Holistic thinking. You see, in psychology, we have this error that sometimes we don't listen to people and reach to conclusions. But when it comes to writing of articles, we can study, investigate, or explore a topic from multiple angles. So this habit also becomes part of your personality and various life events, because life events have multiple angles. Let's say if there are two people, may Allah forbid, if they have a conflict between them. So, and those two come to you and discuss their issues. If you are someone who is a holistic thinker, you will observe it from a different angle. Usually, writing in and publishing in journals is also something related to your holistic thinking, because when we are writing from multiple perspectives. Consistency. This is again very important point. As I highlighted, patience. Consistency is the key. You know, making efforts and making efforts and making efforts. This is what an academic is. It is just like teaching a course. First time when we teach, we are not well versed in it, but with the passage of time, we are able to develop this course, and we are able to bring in some innovations, some new assignments, some new forms of projects, some new class activities. So this consistency is the key. We have to keep on trying, and trust me, my friends, if you are into writing and publishing, you have to keep on trying, because when we publish one article, that is not end of the day. We have to move forward to the second, to the third, to the fourth, and so on. And this is how the life of an academic moves on. Person job love. Publishing manuscripts, it doesn't, it not only requires deep down thinking, but it also, as I said, demands thorough reading and continuous writing in a tireless manner. So I would like to invite and suggest to all those who wanted to be in academia, they should have a reading corner. If not a separate physical place, at least they should have a table where they can sit on a chair and they can just read and reflect and think individually. So the more you read, the better person you also become, because a lot of information strikes your mind. So person job love. The more you read, the more comfortable you will become when it comes to publishing. And reading, if becomes part of your personality, will definitely change the way we live our life. Now, what is its impact? The impact of writing for journals on teaching ability and attitude. First of all, when we continuously read and write, it provides depth to the concepts and theories that we teach in the class. So the more I read, again, the clarity will come to me when it comes to teaching. Second, successful management of projects. You see, when we collaborate with people from different cultural backgrounds, I consider it just like a project management approach. Because let's say, if I am collaborating with my Indonesian colleagues, and plus there is someone who is from Germany, plus there is someone who is from Australia. So just imagine the cross-cultural collaboration. And one research paper, I consider it one project. So it is also about becoming closer friends to each other, developing a trust to each other. And at the same time, when you are a teacher in a business school, you have to manage several projects. Those can be entrepreneurial projects. Those can also be student class projects. Those can also be students' assessment and assignments related projects. So one successful research paper also strengthens and sharpens your ability to successfully manage the projects when we are teaching. You see, data collection experiences. Most of the times, when I started publishing for journals, I was collecting data of my own. At a later stage, my students were collecting data for me, and I was becoming part of their team to collect data. Even today, last year even, I collected data personally for some of my projects. You see, this is a very good experience of interacting with people, especially if you are into qualitative research and you are collecting data from people. This interaction will broaden your thinking, and this closer interaction with people will give you an exposure to the real life, to the real-time social behaviors of individuals when they talk to you and when they discuss with you. So this way it broadens your experience of life. Also, because we are reading and thinking, so being a teacher, if I am able to think and reflect, I think I am good as a teacher, because what I believe, a quality of a good teacher is that he or she strengthens the ability of students to think about the courses, to think about the subjects. So when we are thinking about research topics, a habit and a teaching attitude develops of thinking as well as reflections. And among these, I guess, in today's era of economic crunch, where higher education have limited funds, a lot of commissions I worked with, for example, with Indonesian Higher Education Commission, with Malaysian Higher Education Commission, Sri Lankan Higher Education, Pakistani Higher Education, likewise Morocco Higher Education. So I have even Thai Higher Education Commissions. So based on my experience of working with them, I found that they have limited budget to give it to universities. So that also means university faculty has to assist the university management to bring in some funding from the industry or from the society itself. For that, we need to have faculty who is well respected among industry and among society. So with the help of all these techniques, like very good teaching ability, ability to publish in journals, ability to successfully manage the projects, good, stronger student feedback, it develops faculty as a franchise. And this is one way that we can attract funding from people all around. Another reason why to get published in journals. There are some benefits to faculty, like they are being paid. I worked with, alhamdulillah, with several universities all across the world. And I have was part of the meeting. Yes, please.
I'm sorry for interrupting. But your slide. Okay. Yes, okay. It's already changed.
Okay. So benefits to faculty is like rewards. First of all, rewards are important to motivate people. And I think two types of rewards are there, financial as well as non-financial rewards. To me, sometimes I think that financial rewards, we cannot bargain the two. For some people, financial rewards are important. Likewise, for some individuals, non-financial rewards are equally important. So it depends upon the situation, the likelihood of a person, as how someone thinks about rewards. So while working with universities, and I was like trying to develop their the research culture in their institutions, rewards are supreme important. Secondly, reputation. As I said, that when we publish, we earn the reputation, respect among our peers. Another thing is that it enhances the knowledge of the faculty. It gives you an internal satisfaction, and end of the day, you are progressing as a faculty member. Now, benefits to the institution. If you will publish, the ranking of your university will be increased. You will have a lot of funding opportunities, as I requested earlier. We can go for industrial collaboration, student satisfaction with the institution because faculty is prestigious. And finally, the research culture is developed. So this way, it has benefits for faculty as well as for the institution. Now the core part of my presentation. Why research articles are rejected. And I have several reasons for that why research articles are rejected from scientific journals. There are several reasons. For example, one reason is sometimes the gap is narrowly defined. If I am writing for an international journal, I should consider that the readership of journal is an international audience. So instead of making it too much Pakistani, or instead of making it too much Indonesian, the problem should be developed in a way, the gap should be presented in a way that it presents an international picture and it fulfills the requirements of the readers who are reading a specific journal. So one reason that the articles are rejected from international journals is that gap is narrowly defined. I would like to give an example. For example, child labor. Nanin, can you tell me, child labor, is it like an issue in Indonesia also? Child labor, is it like debated among economic faculty members? Nanin, can you hear me?
Okay, what is it?
Yeah, I was
I'm sorry.
asking, no problem. I was asking that
Yes.
child labor, is it an issue in Indonesia?
Yes, free labor, yes,
Yes.
one of the main issues in our country, sir.
Yes. Yes. Likewise, unemployment, is it an issue over there?
No, not really, but I think during pandemic, yes.
Yes. Yes. Trafficking in Jakarta, is it an issue?
Yes.
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 Yes, it is an issue. Okay.
I think
Okay.
it's a global issue, Mr. Qasim. I
It
think
is
it's
a
a
global
global
issue.
issue.
Yes, that is my point actually. Lot of issues are global issues, but the way we present them, we narrowly define those issues. So instead of just making a case of a single country, if I will make a case of a global issue, the probability of getting published in international journal is much higher. Unemployment is a global issue, people becoming obese, health issues, well-being, psychological issues among people, lot of issues in business and management are not the context issues, rather international issues. So I should present an international picture. This is one suggestion that I always give to my fellows, to my peers, to my friends and the students. So one problem that the article is rejected from international journals is that gap is too narrowly defined. Another problem, sometimes we write in a very good English language. English language is a prerequisite to get my article published. This is a basic requirement. But at the same time, how my research positively contributes to the stakeholder benefit. For example, if I'm writing something, an issue related to telecom industry, I should highlight under introduction section and managerial implication section how my research will help policymakers in that section, in that industry. If I have some research related to fast food, then I should also highlight under introduction as well as under managerial implication section as how my research will benefit the policymakers in the fast food industry. And if I have conducted a study about higher education, I should mention under introduction section of an article as well as under managerial implications how my research is relevant and useful for this audience. Another issue, very important one, lack of depth while writing literature review. LR is literature review. Sometimes what we do, we describe the relationship. For example, we describe that Mr. ABC in 2021 described a relationship or published a study and said that positive leadership can lead to positive outcomes. But most of the times, we do not explain how and why. I would like to see as an editor how an author develops a point. For example, how and why positive leadership still lead to destructive outcomes, which can be lack of engagement in work. So it is like further narrating the literature review. It is like going deeper, digging deeper, and coming up with how and why answers. During my PhD, my supervisor told me what I should consider. I should consider the so what approach. So what approach is, let's say, again, taking the same example, positive leadership and destructive outcomes. So what approach is that, okay, if positive leadership can lead to destructive outcomes, so what? So what means, what is it? Its implications, its problem, its issue at workplace. So I need to explain and give it a definition and give it a direction as well. So another problem that articles are rejected is that there is lack of depth while writing a literature review. As Dr. Yani very rightly mentioned in another point, the references are cited in a carefree manner. I need to read the journal correctly, and I agree with all the points that Dr. Yani referred. We need to understand the references. Those should not be in a carefree manner, should not only be in alphabetic manner, as well as what I can do. Maybe I can use Mendeley, EndNote, and such softwares which can help me to cite the references in a correct manner. So another very important reason is the casual presentation of a research article, that references are cited in a carefree manner. Another very important point, sometimes terms are used in a wrong manner. Method versus methodology, there is a huge difference. Approach versus technique, there is a huge difference. Theory versus framework, there is a huge difference. Framework versus model, there is a difference. So when I'm writing, I should not use English expressions interchangeably. This is what we call intellectual integrity. Snowball sampling is different to cluster sampling. Cluster sampling is different to random sampling. Random sampling is different from, let's say, purposive sampling. So what I need to do as a writer, as an editor, as an author, I need to make sure that all the terminologies which I'm using are correct in manner. As an editor, when I read the article and I see that there is no or lack of intellectual integrity, I will simply reject the article, because it will give me a feel that the author does not know about the terminology in a correct manner. So question might arise, how I can contribute to science without knowing it correctly? Another point, why articles are rejected. Methodological choices are stated. For example, people explain we use simple random sampling technique. We collected data with a cross-sectional research design. We collected data from working individuals in the healthcare sector. And we approached people in the month of, let's say, July 2021. But why the reasons stated should be elaborated in a way that gives some choice, that gives some light to the readers, and they know that authors not only know the choices, but also the reasons behind the choices. To me as an editor, the reasons behind the choices are more important. One bad example I have written here as an example, result 2019 used snowball sampling, which led us to choose this technique is no logic. It is just a confirmability. But in quantitative research, particularly, we should not use this type of slang. Rather, we should say that, okay, this is 1, 2, 3, 4 reasons that I opted for snowball sampling, and it was helpful to us. Another reason, my friends, the core focus of an article, remains on beautification of numbers and figures. I can see a lot of people, they use fancy software programs in qualitative as well as quantitative research, and they say that if figures are correctly elaborated and presented in a way that it beautifies the article, the publication success is high. I disagree with that, because this is not an advancement to science. This is just all glamour. So point which I'm trying to make here is that instead of merely focusing on the beautification of articles and the way it is presented, we should focus on the theory, we should focus on the conceptualization, we should focus on the correct manners which I refer to intellectual integrity. Under discussion sections, we should highlight which academic debates are now open with the results. And one tip I would like to give here, there should be a close relationship between introduction section and discussion section. Introduction is just like your brand promise. Discussion is fulfillment of that promise. In introduction section, we highlight some gaps. In discussion, we discuss those gaps in the light of results. So I should highlight as which gaps that we highlighted under introduction section are now closer and which new debates are open with the results.
Mr. Kasif,
Another very, yeah, please.
Sorry for
Yeah, please.
interrupting. Your slide doesn't move. This one. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Another problem is that the results are presented, but a discussion is not generated. And by that I mean, the discussion, I mean that there should be some theoretical as well as cultural or contextual reasons of results. Taking forth the example of leadership and destructive outcomes. Now I should explain how theory helps me to define this relationship. Or I could have collected data from Russia. What is the impact of this context on the results? So when it comes to discussion section, it should be fulfilled by theoretical as well as contextual reasons of results. And normally, my friends, I have seen that the core emphasis goes to literature review. Normally, people write huge literature reviews, huge introduction section, which becomes very boring at times to read. You see, if you ask me as an editor, what is your contribution in a research article? Please, your contribution in a research article is the way you write your discussion section. During my PhD, this is something which I was also told, that theoretical, contextual, and sometimes methodological reasons as why results are the way they are. For example, if hypothesis 1 is accepted, I should give the reasons why this hypothesis is accepted versus why hypothesis number 3 is rejected. So the reasons can come from theoretical as well as contextual or methodological reasons. Finally, the managerial and social implications are not within the scope of research study. Again, this is very important part, and I see most of the times introduction, literature review, methods, and results. These are 4 parts which authors focus a lot. Introduction, literature review, methods, and results. Based on my reading of the articles, these are the 4 parts people generally focus a lot. But discussion, managerial implications, limitations, and future research, these are neglected. Please, once you will go back home today, read out the articles and you will find the truth what I am saying. Now, the point which I'm trying to make here is that instead of merely focusing on introduction, literature review, methods, and results, I should equally emphasize on discussion, social implications or managerial implications, as well as limitations and future research directions of the study. So one reason that articles are rejected, that it has no managerial or social implications, no benefit to the management community, the workers who are working in a factory or a company, and no benefit to the society. So the article becomes just a description of literature. Don't do that. Try to emphasize on discussion. I would narrate again. Discussion, social or managerial implications, and limitations as well as future research directions. Those also require your concentration, please. Now, being an editor, because I work for Emerald as an editor, there is some criteria that we use to evaluate articles. Now, what is that criteria? I would just give it a holistic view of that. For example, originality. You see, originality, it's a very complex question to answer actually. What is original? Original in qualitative research is different comparable to quantitative research. Qualitative research, maybe sometimes you can say that the context is its originality. If I collect data from, let's say, about third gender in Pakistan, about their experience of studying in a university, right? This can be something very original because we tend to ignore those people. Recently, one of my students, she conducted a study from those people who are ignored at work. They are sweepers. As how do they feel about working in a university? So the sweepers, the janitorial staff, okay, the shopkeepers, All these people are ignored species when it comes to management research in journal and economics research as well. In economics, although we have a lot of research about them, but originality is sometimes coming up with new audience. Originality is sometimes coming up with new relationship between two variables. Originality is also sometimes using a new method. So originality depends upon how you conceive a problem. Then relationship to literature, it means that the literature is elaborated in a nice manner and it has been properly discussed using a so what approach. Methodology. In methodology, we focus on the theory of methods. Why I opted for methods, why I opted for a sampling approach, which I used. Do I have the scientific reasons for that? Why I opted for a, let's say, a theory, social exchange theory, or let's say social identity theory. So I should have reasons for that. This pertains to methodology. Then the results should be presented clearly. Now, let me highlight a point here. When I present my results, please do not make those results complex. Explain those results. Lot of people, they might not have expertise in statistics. So if I say HTMT criteria, for them, what the hell is this HTMT criteria? I need to elaborate on that. If I say Cronbach's alpha, what is it Cronbach alpha? I need to basically point this out and to make the life of people easier with that. As I highlighted, point number 5, implications, social as well as managerial implications. If you are conducting a social research, your research should benefit to the society. If I'm investigating the traffic manners of people living in Karachi, as well as people living in Bangkok, as well as people living in Jakarta, as well as people living in Tokyo, so I should come up with some policy implications for the governments as how they can control traffic, as how they can save time of people. So this way, presenting the policy recommendations will contribute to the social life. Secondly, managerial implications. How within an organization things can be improved. And final part is quality of communication. By quality of communication, I mean that it is written in correct English. Unfortunately, most of the times our focus goes with the quality of communication. We think that if we will hire someone who can edit our article and can do proofreading, the probability of being published in an international journal is higher. I'm sorry, no. A person with a history background might have very good English language skills, writing skills, but he or she might be unfamiliar with the issues of business and management. So either you need to find an editor, someone who can edit your work and has similar background, or do it by your own self. So the quality of communication is not only the English language, it is the way you present your argument. Now the final part of your presentation. You see, what I believe is research in the field of management is all about deep down thinking, and the knowledge is borrowed from daily life chores. Knowledge is borrowed from some other parts of life as well. It is not only about management all the time. It is not only about branding all the time. It is like about daily life. And I would like to give some surprising examples of research papers. If you go through these titles, these people investigated the issue of pets at work. Pets at work. Now, can you imagine that there is a relationship between having a dog and pro-social behavior at work? They said, yes, there is a relationship between having a dog and pro-social work among employees. So they said that, okay, if you are having a pet, you can still publish management research. If you have a dog, if you have a cat, you can still publish in management research because the knowledge stems from our daily life, our hobbies, our passion, our walking approaches, our eating approaches, our spirituality. Let me share other examples as well. Ecofeminist insights. It is a story of 4 friends who often go to walk and for hunting on weekends. So this article published in Marketing Theory, one of the top journals of marketing in the world, they discussed the discussions held among friends, and they were going to hunting on a weekend basis, and it is based on the discussions, on the dialogue that was there among friends. So even if you think that you have a hobby, hunting as a hobby, you can still correlate this hobby with marketing research. This is just another example. And why I'm saying that publishing for impact also depends upon the beauty of the topics. You being a researcher should have an eye which spreads across not only the management issues, but also the daily life issues. Another very interesting issue, and I hope it will fascinate Dr. Yeni as well, because it is the area she is, mashallah, publishing extensively. Charlie Chaplin. If I'm fond of Charlie Chaplin stories, readings, I can still publish research in accounting. How? Go back and read about this article. You people will get an idea as how it goes on. So you see, sometimes now I should think about that Tom and Jerry might be used to publish research in marketing. If Charlie Chaplin can be used as a character to publish research in accounting, okay? And just one more example is poetry and management science. Iqbal, may he be blessed, his soul be blessed. One of the greatest scholars that we had in Urdu is Pakistani language. One of the greatest scholars that we had, he gave us the idea of Pakistan. And one of the beautiful poets that we had in subcontinent. He is well known for his philosophy, his work in philosophy. You see, my good friends of mine working in Lahore University, they read the poetry of Iqbal and closely associated with the Western capitalism criticism that Iqbal had in that poetry. So if you have interests in watching cartoons, if you have interests in maybe observing some eco-feminist stories during hunting, if you have interest in reading to Charlie Chaplin stories, if you have some interest maybe in kite flying, these can be used to publish research in the field of management sciences, because the knowledge stems from various fields. It can stem from poetry, it can come from our daily life, it can come from our jogging, it can come from our yoga experiences, it can come from our classroom experiences. And thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kasim. Is it done already?
Yes, I'm done from my side.
Okay. Yes, it's very interesting, Mr. Kasim. So I agree with you that when we are writing and publishing, it means it involves holistic thinking, because we're writing from various perspectives. And yes, I agree that for lecturers, publishing in journals bring benefits for faculty and institutions. I'm sorry, I forgot to turn on the camera. Yes, okay. Thank you. Thank you once again. So, ladies and gentlemen, participants, if you have questions, please don't forget to write in the message column. We have already 1, 2, okay, more than 2 questions. Mr. Kasif and Mrs. Yani Kuntari, we are now in the question and answer session. Which one do you prefer, Mrs. Yani and Mr. Kasif? Ask you directly or just by text? The questioners.
I'm okay with both.
Oh, okay with both. Okay. Okay, this is question from Mrs. Tantri Widyastuti. Thanks, more informative. Dr. Yeni and Mr. Kasif. Okay, this is the question. Do we need to write an eccentric title to attract the readers to be accepted by Scottish Index Journal? Mr. Kasif, perhaps you can share your experience.
Where is that question? I'm trying to find Daryl. Where is that question?
Column, chat column.
Yeah, I'm Chet. I'm just looking into it. Which question you read? By
Tantri
Lina
from Tantri Vidyastuti.
from Tantri.
Tantri Vidyastuti, yes. To be accepted by Scopus Index Journal, do we need to write an eccentric title to attract the readers?
Title is just one thing, I would say, Nanin. We cannot judge the book by its cover only. The title is just one thing,
Yes.
and it doesn't guarantee actually. But yes,
But
as
it
I was
appears on
sharing,
the top, Mr. Kasif. The
yes,
title appears on the
yes,
top of the publication or
yes,
article.
yes, yes. But Nanin, just I have one question from you. When you go to a bookshop, sometimes you reject the book based on the title as well. No?
Yes, but sometimes when I go to the bookstore, I read the title first.
Yeah, yeah. My point is that title is okay. We should have attractive title. I also try to play with the titles. If you go through my articles, some of them title is like "Love is not blind" and "My love, I hate you." Okay, so these type of titles are
Yeah,
there.
I remember
But
it.
then,
Yes, one of your articles.
yeah,
If love is blind,
yes,
oh, love is not blind. I'm sorry.
yeah. Yeah, love is not blind, and of course,
Yes.
because no, the point is that on a serious note, we have to link it with the issue at hand. If I say love is not blind, am I discussing love? If I say my love, I hate you, am
No,
I
no, no.
discussing hate?
Yeah.
So the point is that the title of my article should be like that it should describe the issue at hand. If something is discussed and has been titled in a way, then it is pretty fine. And at the same time, title is no guarantee that the article will be accepted. But yes, people might say, wow, amazing. It will be read by them. At least it will get a place to get read.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. Okay, the next question. So yes, title is important thing. Well, important, but more important is the content. Yes, Mr. Kasif.
Yes, yes. And we have full right to
Yes,
play with the
don't
title.
judge the book by its title. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. The next question, Mrs. Yeni Kuntari, perhaps you can ask directly to Mr. Kasif. No problem. It's okay.
Mr. Putantri. Yeah. To Putantri Widyasuti, the same question to me and to Mr. Kasif. And my question, actually, I write on the chat. According to my experience, the guidance of some journal thought that there is no more than 8 words, but maybe also eye-catching and make curious the reader. Thank you.
Yes.
But
Yes.
no judge the paper by its title. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, thank you, Mrs. Yeni. I thought because you already answered Mrs. Tantri questions in the chat column, so I asked you to ask your own question to Mr. Kasif. You have questions? You wrote it in the comment column, in the chat column. What is the difference between originality and novelty?
Oh.
Okay, Mr. Kasif, perhaps you can tell us the difference between originality and novelty. Is it the same as importance of article?
Very important question, and a very intelligent and a very tricky question, I would say. These are used interchangeably. My first argument is that these are used interchangeably. People say that there is no difference at all between novelty and originality. But based on some of my readings, I think there is a difference. By original means the idea of the research itself is new. Okay, either the method is new, or the theory it developed is new, or the context it represented is new. Like I gave an example, if I study university student satisfaction among third gender, in that the university student satisfaction is not new, but the sample itself is new. Okay. And if I try to investigate, how do fat people create identity at work? So work identity is not new, but among fat people, it is something new, right? So context can be something original, method can be something original, as well as theory can be something original, and it requires a lot more detail. Theory, what is theory, is a separate topic, you know. When it comes to novelty, it is about being respected. Issue at hand, how concurrent it is, how relevant it is, how useful it is for the communities. For example, if we study the positive effects of COVID in higher education, I think that the issue is novel in its own nature because it is very relevant. Universities are trying to find solutions to that, and it is related to the recent events that the world is facing. So by original means it is contributing, by novel means it is really needy at a given period of time. This is what I see, some differences between novelty as well as the originality. I hope I answered the question.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kasif. Bu Yeni, Mrs. Yeni Kodari, satisfied with the answer?
Yes.
Okay, the next question is from Mr. or Mrs. Mr. Endro Puspo Wiroko. Mr. Endro seems okay. You are online, Mr. Endro. You turn on camera. Would you like to ask directly?
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Thank you very much. Actually, I got connected to Dr. Kasif's site in LinkedIn, and then I saw your post, and that's why I knew this event from your post in LinkedIn. So alhamdulillah, I got this information. My major is actually organizational psychology, and I am interested in investigating about certain types of leadership. But my question is, how sexy is this kind of effort? I mean, like, I would like to identify which type of leadership that might be more effective in Indonesian setting, for example. Do I have to do such a comparison or just do it exclusively in Indonesia, or is there any suggestions from you? Thank you.
Dr. Yeni, you would like to answer, please? Or is it question from me?
Mr. Kasif, it is for you. I have the question for Mr. Indro too.
Okay. So first of all, thank you very much, Mr. Endro. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Pardon me if I didn't. Is it your PhD topic? You are doing PhD?
I am actually doing a PhD in one of Indonesian state university.
Okay. And your university focuses on theory development, or they want you to just investigate, collect some empirical evidence and finish the PhD?
It's more into publication, I guess.
Okay, publication. Then it means that they want you to develop some theory. My suggestion to you would be, first of all, I mean, you must have read literature. This is the first stage. You must have read literature. Second stage is that you have some observations collected from the industry. Either you are working, maybe your friends are working, maybe your classmates are working. Okay, so you have some idea in the back of your mind as what type of leadership crisis Indonesian sector is going on, or Indonesia as a country is going on. Mr. Indro, if you are pretty sure that leadership in Indonesia is entirely different than the leadership in the whole world. For example, if you can come up with an entirely new theory in comparison to servant leadership, transformational leadership, exploitative leadership, if you think like that, then Indonesia as a context is important and requires you to go for a qualitative investigation. On the contrary, if you think that you need to collect an empirical evidence, then the context of Indonesia is just a sample. Okay, then the context of Indonesia is just a sample. You are collecting data from those people who are in closer proximity to you. So in that case, you are not developing a new theory, rather coming up with an empirical generalization that, okay, this was the issue, this is a framework, and this is an evidence which I collected from the Indonesian sector. It could be telecom, it could be any sector which you think is more accessible and is more relevant to you. So these are the two vivid suggestions. At one side, purely qualitative, if you think to develop a new theory, and on the contrary, purely quantitative, if you think that no, Indonesian context is just like the context in China, because it is part of Asia. And people might question you, Pakistan is also Asia, India is also Asia. So why Indonesia? How it is different comparable to other countries? If you do not have an answer, please collect an empirical evidence and try to contribute to the theory this way. But if you think that there are some traditional leadership practices in Indonesia which are different comparable to others, then I invite you to do a qualitative study, my friend.
I see. So, is it also possible to choose? Actually, my interest is on servant leadership. Until now, I guess so far I have my like hypothesis. I would like to modify the dimensions of the servant leadership scale or the measurement. Is it also a contribution to the literature?
Definitely, and it might require you to do a mixed methods.
I see.
Otherwise, we cannot do anything to the existing conceptualization unless until I went through a phase of investigation, which requires me to falsify first. I would like to make an argument that the existing state of research in servant leadership does not address these issues. And based on this criticism, I would invite researchers to go for a mixed method investigation, starting either from qualitative, leading to quantitative, could be sequential mixed method.
Yes, I'm thinking of the second method.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Let me read again my literature.
Sure. Best wishes to you. Best wishes.
Thank you, Mr. Kasif. Thank you, Mr. Endra. Okay, sorry, Mr. Endra. You said that you're a PhD student at which university?
Universitas Padjadjaran.
Oh, okay, Padjadjaran University Bandung.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Thank you. And next question, I think two more questions. Oh, okay. Mbak Ratri Buddha. Okay, Mbak Ratri Buddha. Miss Ratri Buddha. Okay, you raise your hand. You want to ask directly to Mr. Kasif or Mrs. Yeni? Hi, Miss Buddha. Miss Buddha or Miss Ratri? How to call? Okay, unmute, please.
Unmute.
Miss Ratri, unmute.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Prof. Kasif and Dr. Yeni, to any of you, as Mr. Endro, I'm also a student of postgraduate studies in Indonesia in Brawijaya University, Malang. And as in Indonesia, most of university in Indonesia, for postgraduate students to be able to not only graduate, but before we do our examination, we must, it is compulsory for us to publish in a reputable journal. And in my university, it's asked us to publish in Scopus for at least Q3 rank. And as I've never had any experience in publishing before, maybe you have some information on how can I publish in a Scopus journal with a high quartile rank, so that I can meet the deadline before I do my examination. I can how do you call it? I can get the LOA or at least get my article to be published, because I was told I got information that if I want to publish in a good reputable journal, it takes a lot of time. Yes, I think that's my question.
Okay.
Well, Ms. Buddha,
Yes.
Should I continue, Nanin?
No, go on, sir.
Yeah, should I answer it?
Yes, please do.
Okay. So, first of all, I would like to elaborate on the last part of the question. It requires time, and it requires time, and it requires time. Okay, when we are into good journals, they need time because a lot of people submit to that. Okay, and it is a fact. If we go to a fast food, which is very busy, we have to wait for that, right? We have to wait for our pizza or the burger. Same applies to this journal articles as well because there is a longer queue. Editors are busy people as well. Review work is voluntary work. So do not please compromise on the quality of the journal. Do not go for paid journals. One thing. Only very rarely, if it is a matter of life and death, only rarely please go to paid journals. I respect to those, even as a colleague, I respect to those because it depends upon circumstances. I don't criticize. You publish where you wanted to. Okay, and publishing does not guarantee the type of person I am. Personality is different, publication is different. It's an academic thing, right? So I don't judge people with the publication they have. But as a suggestion, as a colleague, I would say, don't go for paid publication and don't go for non-scopus. No paid publication, no non-scopus. And rest of the highlights, rest of the guidelines are highlighted by Mrs. Yenny and me in this presentation. You can have another version, a YouTube version of this presentation. I hope it will help you this way. I tried to discuss that why articles are rejected. So if you please keep a critical eye on that, you will be able to learn more as why articles are rejected and what I need to keep intact. I hope it's
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kasif. Mrs. Jenny Kuntari, you'd like to answer?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ratri. Always keep your fire on your study. I know how the tidak nyamannya to do this. I mean, penugasan menulis di Scopus, and then you can open the Simaco. Simaco is always the right choice to choose the Scopus journal. When you find the Simaco, then you choose the relate field on your paper. Not always the really same field. You can choose the nearby or the similarity. Maybe some issues you can publish at business or at ethic issue or at really management issue or culture issue. Some like my paper, I read the issue in public accounting sector public sector accounting, and I can choose the field that maybe not in accounting field, but I can choose the public management or in the journal of economics, something like that. And then you can read the paper in the journal, how the quality, how the number of the paper in every publication. I mean, it is depend on the quality of the journal. Yeah. Never think that in Simaco it is always good journal. It is also what call Mr. Kasif?
Predatory journal.
Yeah.
Is it predatory journal?
There is, yes, predatory. Yes, and then you can check in the release and also how the people continuity publish. It must be hati-hati apa Miss? Yes, carefully to choose the journal and the Simaco.
I see. So may I highlight what Dr. Yenny and Prof. Kasif explained, that it seems that I have to be careful with the journal, meaning like there is possibility for predatory journal in Scopus if they ask me to pay. Meaning that
Yeah.
can I conclude that that's kind of a predatory journal?
Mr. Kasif, I have
No.
an experience that I learned in some Emerald public training of publication journal. There is two choice that we have to pay the fee of journal, and the other choice is no pay. It can be, Mr. Kasif?
It is again a very difficult to answer question because predatory journals are sometimes called hijack journals, sometimes called low standard journals. There are a lot of categories actually. It's not very easy to say that those people who charge money are predatory, because sometimes if it is a lab experiment and the reviewer has to review the article based on another lab experiment, okay, for that they need money, and this experiment should be made from my pocket rather than the pocket of the reviewer. So in some journals I have to pay for them. And then there is another list of journals, those who charge very high fee. I cannot name them, I'm sorry, but they charge very high fee, somewhere closer to 2,000 US dollars, 1,800 US dollars, and they have very high impact factor.
Yeah.
They have very high impact factor, okay? So those are not predatory. Those are well respected, but everyone knows that they are not quality journals. Everyone knows that they ask me to mention reviewers who are my closer friends. So I'll mention my friend A, my friend B, my friend C, those who are my closer friends, and I will do the same bad thing for them. Okay, so this is yet another indicator. And I have a presentation about it. There are like tens of indicators. They might give you some emails that publish with them. Who am I? They are writing me an email. I'm just an ordinary academic. So why they are glorifying me? Sometimes I think like that. And they also are like bargaining, Miss Buddha.
Yeah.
If they say they charge 500 US dollars and you say no, I can give you $220. So they give okay, 480, 430. It is just like buying a second-hand scooter from them. Okay, so it is just yet another indicator that they are ready to bargain, because the core focus is on dollars rather than the scientific knowledge enhancement. So there is no one indicator of predatory journal. I would agree to Dr. Yenny. She said that you should go to Schemago website. This is one indicator. You can find quality journals. Web of Science is yet one another. Web of Science, from there you can find the list of journals, but still you need guidance because there are some hijacked journals. I am writing it in the chat box so that everyone can find it out. There is a list of hijacked journals. What they do, they will copy and paste the name of the journal and the website on the Web of Science. And once you will, from there, you will click. It will go to the website of the predatory journal.
Yes.
So it's very tricky, actually, very tricky to find a correct journal. And that's why we need expert in that. That's why we need guidance from people who have experience in publishing.
I see. Thank you very much for your enlightenment, Prof. Kasif and Dr. Yenny.
Yeah.
You are most welcome. Just one last thing. It is so unfortunate that people have made it a trick and a game. Publishing is a very straightforward phenomena. If I'm good at writing, if I want to enhance scientific knowledge, if I know I have intellectual integrity, my road should be simple. But it has been arrogated by a lot of complexity in science. It has been like intervened by people with relationships. If I'm an editor, I have 3 closer friends, I will get their article published with them. And then there is some error of race as well. People are quite biased if data is coming from a developed country versus a developing country. And I have seen that personally happening to me even. So it should not be considered as a game, and there are no tricks to that. It's very simple, straightforward. Sit, relax, read, think, reflect, write. That's all you do. That's all we do. I hope and wish that we go back to the normal, not COVID I'm referring to, but the normal process of writing and publishing in a journal. An academic should publish in an academic way. This is I wish for, but actually it doesn't happen. In a developed country, even after the conference proceedings, I saw people were socializing with few people only and committing with them some articles in a special issue. This is so unfortunate, very bad.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kasif. Detailed, clear explanation, Mr. Kasif and Mrs. Yani Kuntari. And it's almost 3 o'clock, so one more question, I think, from Mr. Bambang Wijanarko. Okay, the question in Bahasa, Mr. Kasif. Okay, he asked, at KIF University, okay, is there publisher journal, international journal at KIF University and status index or not? And how long the process to be accepted and how much?
Actually, so far we don't have any journal which publishes research in business and management. We are a new university. We came into being around 2002. We got the charter in 2004. And now we got accepted into the PhD program. We are launching it first time. So probably in a year or two, we will be able to launch the journal. Other than that, I'm working with other journals like British Food Journal. I worked with them as an editor, then Asia Pacific Journal of Business Administration, now currently editor for South Asian Journal of Marketing. And on a daily basis, it's like I receive around 5 to 10 papers. So a lot of work is going on as an editor, a lot of work. And for this, that's why I said that in order to get accepted, we need to emphasize on few core things, which I highlighted in the presentation. And I hope that it would have enriched the way people think about publications.
Okay. Yes, thank you. But letters, when your institutions publish the journal, may our students submit?
Yeah, why not?
What language used in at KIF University?
Mostly English.
English, mostly English. Okay.
Mostly English.
Okay, English, yes.
Yeah, for explanations, we use Urdu as well. It depends upon the lecturer. We have no restrictions. Language is just a language. Language is just a language. No superior or being inferior. So we consider this way.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Kasif. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's all for question and session.
I'm all you, Miss Dia, from Legaco Technology.
Okay, yes, thank you for your attention, ladies and gentlemen. Or perhaps for one last thing, Mr. Kasif, would you motivate us, lecturers and students to write? Because as I told you earlier, sometimes we are lazy or I don't know, perhaps, the passion on writing is less.
There are two sources to that. We do it when we are in need. One reason is need. We do it in the manner of need. There are a lot of PhD students, a lot of MPhil students. By hook or by crook, they have to do that. Okay. Second is by choice. I wish and pray that it happened by choice. Otherwise, it is very difficult. And it requires an aptitude, Nanin, actually. It requires a lifelong aptitude to do that. I was so lucky, and I always say that, and I am grateful to Allah Almighty, that my parents were so closer to books. Even my grandfather was so closer to books. He was only a primary school pass only, 5th standard only. But he was able to read mathematics. He was able to read English. He was very good at reading history and Urdu. So in our home, it was this type of culture. And I have a small library in the home as well, just sharing because you asked about it. Okay. So it requires a lifelong journey. We are lucky if we are groomed in a way that we are closer to books. Otherwise, we are closer to these devices, this mobile phone. Otherwise, we are closer to that. And for writing, becoming an academic, teaching in a university, publishing for journals, everything requires getting closer to the books. So two options, as I said, one is by need. When I go to a PhD program, I have to do that. Second is that you take this attitude since your childhood. And I guess it is easy for those who take it from their childhood. And also it has implications for us as parents. that we bring our children closer to books, ignoring the fact that books give us money or no in return. Books might not give us money, but books might might make us more wiser, that we can earn money and we can help others to make money. And third argument is that there are tips to do that. Take care of your health. Everything belongs to Allah, but going for walk is an interesting thing. This is I always give as a tip, going for walk. Another tip that I used to give to students, those who feel like lazy and bit tired when it comes to teaching and publishing, is that bring variety in your life. Read thriller stories, watch Marvel movies, but also read books. It is about your focus. Do a lot of variety things. Maybe go to a swimming, maybe go to jogging, become closer friends to people, go to dinner, okay? But at the same time, come back and read. The more variety we have in life, the less laziness we have also sometimes. So these are just few tips and techniques. And above all is dua from Allah Almighty, that may Allah show us the right path and bring us to the clarity in this life and hereafter, the ease of life. So that's all, I guess, from my side. I hope it helps somebody.
Amin, amin. Okay, thank you, Mr. Kasif. Yes, okay, every one of you, thank you for your attention, for your contribution in question and answer. And I hope every one of us here is enlightened, tercerahkan, and motivated to write and publish, write and submit after this. Yes, Mr. Yeni. After this, and suddenly we are motivated to write.
Inshallah.
Thank you, Mr. Kasif, for enlightening me. Why the inspiration. Thank you for participation from Indonesia, from abroad, of course. It is the fruitful discussion, and I hope we never or we must keep our fire to publication. Okay. Never forget about GFA.
Okay, yes, okay. Thank you, Mrs. Jenny. Okay, thank you so much once again. And now I return to MC, Miss Lita Apriliani.
Yeah, thank you, Mrs. Nenin. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's all for today. Thank you for your participation. Stay safe, stay healthy, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Mbak Nita, mau ada foto dulu, Mbak Nita? Mbak Nita.
Thank you, Pak Indro, Mr. Kasif, Ratri.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Maheji Jazidin Syed.
Thank you, Prof. Kasif, Dr. Yeni.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Take care then. Thank you. Bye.
See you. Take
See you.
care.
See you,
Your
inshallah.
health.
Okay, thank you everyone. Mbak Nita mana? Mbak Nita sudah ya? Mbak Nita, tadi ngomong apa ya? Gak denger. Yes, okay.
Tawarin nomorku kalau ada yang mau ikut lagi.
Alright.
Kasih nomor Jamaah nomorku. Karena aku tadi boleh nomor Jamaah, karena nomorku sih.
Oh yes. Baik.